Maranatha, Christ is coming. It's good to see everybody's faces. Gonna do the health nugget for you this morning, and I want to talk about food addiction. Food addiction. Of all the addictions that ravage the world, people are addicted to all sorts of things. People are addicted to social media, people are addicted to substances, people are addicted to sexual content on the internet, people are addicted to all sorts of things. But one of the most pervasive addictions that everyone at least contends with on some level is food addiction. When you ask a normal kid, what's your favorite food? I doubt they're going to say broccoli. I doubt they're going to say cauliflower. They're probably going to say something like pizza, chicken nuggets, burgers, hot wings, foods like this. And the thing is, we haven't always lived in a world of plenty. We haven't always lived in a world where food was so readily available and so cheap, and yet prices have gone up comparatively, but compared to how people lived in the past, food is cheap. And we haven't always lived that way. We've often lived in a world where food was hard to come by, and we didn't always have access to rich, highly caloric foods that just assaulted our senses with overpowering flavors and sensations. But the world's different now. We live in a world of highly flavorful and addictive, readily available foods. And our bodies were designed to reward us with pleasure-inducing chemicals whenever we encountered these types of foods, because in the natural world, these foods are rare. Foods that are high in fats, sugars, salt. These foods are rare in the natural world. But now we live in a world where these foods are all around us, these artificial foods that we've surrounded ourselves with in the city life that we live in. One of the things that makes food so addictive is fat. Fat is extremely addictive because it has a lot of calories in it. And our bodies are designed to look for caloric food. Because like I said, in the natural world, the way we've lived for thousands of years, finding highly caloric food was hard to find. So when you did find it, God designed our bodies to reward us whenever we did find fatty, highly caloric foods. But that's what makes fat so addictive. It's so rich in calories that it can become addictive when it's so readily available. So fat is one of the main reasons why food is so addictive. Another is sugar. Sugar is very addictive. In fact, Coca-Cola, the soft drink that everyone's familiar with, it's the reason why it's called Coca-Cola. Coca is because it used to be made with cocaine. A lot of people know that. That's where the Coca comes from in Coca-Cola. And it was designed to give it this stimulating boost that was also very addictive. It made people addicted to the drink. And what they did, because they couldn't use cocaine after a certain point, they regulated it. They don't use that anymore, but what they did is they replaced it with a lot more sugar to maintain the same quality. So the Coca-Cola you get now, it's not that different. And the reason why it's not that different, even though there's no cocaine in it, is because they put more sugar in it. So it maintains that stimulating edge, and it maintains its addictive quality even though there's no cocaine in it. They just put more sugar in it because sugar is extremely addictive. And another thing is salt. Salt, again, in the natural world is not something that's found all over the place. If you try to eat a bowl of rice with no salt in it, you're going to have a hard time. Unless you're really hungry, you're going to have a hard time getting through it. But if you put salt in it, all of a sudden, it tastes great, right? Food tastes great when you put salt in it. And so when you combine all these things together, high fat, high sugar, high salt, you create this environment where food becomes extremely addictive. And so food addiction is something that we all struggle with. And so one of the ways that we can help to recalibrate our taste buds, recalibrate our palate, to find more natural foods more pleasing is fasting. Fasting is a very powerful way to repair your digestive system, to recalibrate your taste buds, to recalibrate your palate, because after you've been fasting for 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, it doesn't take a lot for food to be really good. You don't need flavor bombs of flavor in order to find food enjoyable. And during the fasting process, your body is recalibrating the way it perceives food. So if you fast for 24 to 72 hours, you eat a simple meal, it's going to be delicious just because it's a wholesome meal. And after that, if you continue to feed your body foods of that nature, your body's naturally going to find it more rewarding. It's a way of rebuilding the way that you perceive food, and a way of repairing the relationship that you have with food. And these things are really important to remember, because we're not just Christians, but we're Seventh-day Adventists. And the way we eat is part of the way we worship God. It's an intrinsic part of the way we worship God, because God created our bodies in his image, and caring for them through a healthy diet is one of the ways that we honor him. By choosing nourishing foods, we not only show gratitude for his gift of life, but also allow his character to be reflected in us. By freeing ourselves of these addictions, it gives us clear minds, strong bodies, and a spirit that's ready to serve. So just as Daniel's faith was reflected in his diet, our choices today help restore God's image inside of us and prepare us to glorify him in everything that we do. Because ultimately, one of the main reasons that we're here, we went over it in the kids' class today, is to restore the image of Christ inside of us that was broken when sin entered into the world. And the way we eat is a powerful way that we do this. So I pray that this will encourage all of you to make healthier choices, and I pray you may all be in perfect health. Amen.